Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and TGIF. There, I hear my sound. Excellent. Not bad. That's not far behind. All right, let's get rolling along in here. After a wild and woolly day yesterday, it was a wild and it's starting off just as we were thinking it would do. It's taking off on the upside here. Don't think it's going to make back much, but I mean, 500, 600, 700, something like that in that area. I'd be surprised if we were up 1,200 for the day. I would think that we would end up in the fours and fives, something like that. Maybe a 0.25% back, or 25% back, or 33% back, something like that. The markets overall took the coronavirus scare again. Boy, if we only could do the media lockdown with them, lock the media down for 2 or 3 months, the world would be a much more peaceful place. Anyway, let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on there. You can see there's cable this morning. And let's zip over to the euro. Excuse me, the euro. Euro stayed in a buy. It's dropping underneath now. Today you got these two volatility dots. And we're less. I was looking at the ruble yesterday. I still think the ruble is a key to something. I'm just not sure exactly what yet. But then I said the same thing about platinum, and that didn't work out. So you never know. When we're not looking at math and we're trying to figure things out through fundamental type concepts, it can be a little bit more dicey. And that's usually what the problem is that that's why we lean on the math, and we live and die by it with no problem. You see we have a fact check sheet there to our left we've been using for decades, right there, showing you the position, how long it's been in a weekly trend on the upside, and how much it's been on or in a downside right there. That's what these two columns right there are all about. Oop, let's light it up again. Right there, that's what those two columns are about. The numbers in there tell us if they settle above them or below them, it changes the direction. And you can see here, it's just like when you're looking on here, there's a weekly. So as much as they're putting a little selling pressure into, if you want to call it that, selling into the euro, you can see we're cleanly up way above the weekly sell number there. And the sell number is at the zero line there, right around the zero line. And we have it on the sheet here. There's that right there, 110.94. That's how it works. And then the second column is the daily buy and sell trends. That's what that is right there. So that's how we roll around here. Hey, I bought your 20. 854. I bought your 20 yesterday. Terrible GDP UK news and pound goes up. Need your help. Let's go back to the cable then. Let's see what we're doing there now. I saw the cable last, 126. Hey, Robin, how you doing? So were you long? Let me think. Is it going down or is it going up right now? What's cable doing? Let's get on J4X. We can see it much clearer that way. Right there. All right. It looks unchanged at the moment. Were you long? Which side of the ball are you on? You know what? You don't even have to tell me that. We can just figure out what it's doing right now. Well, you can see it's rolling over on J4X right now. There's pressure on it, but look at it. It's not going anywhere, even with this big dip, because most of that is yesterday. And you see what I mean? Most of that's yesterday. You can see a little curve kicking in on the ROS. Another fun-filled day, that's for sure. And then let's go over to the algorithm and take a look at the Chicago Quant algorithm and see what it looks like there. You can see it's in a daily sell from yesterday, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. And let's make this just bigger for a second to try to see what the weekly looks like. Come on, you can do it, girl. There you go. Let's widen that out. There we go. See, it's holding up really well in the buy. Where's our weekly sell number? Weekly sell is 123.94. And oh, hey, Komarovtith. We'll just call you K. Hey, K, how you doing? Welcome to the hood. TGIF. Hope everything's doing good for you. So 54. What's the issue there? How were you carrying it long overnight from 3 nights ago? And then yesterday they ripped it away from you. Is that what's going on? Let's see. News and pound goes up. Was it down that much? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, now I get it. I didn't read all of that. I'm sorry about that. Oh, I see. So you sold it. Well, we try to stay away from the fundamentals. Fundamentals don't always do it. Short pound, absolutely. It seems to be correlated with the S&P 500. That wouldn't surprise me any. I just can't. I cannot say. I mean, the only fundamental you could use in reality is the physical fundamentals. In other words, you're looking at a field of corn, and if you get X amount of bushels out of it like you normally do, that's about the only fundamental I'll trust. After that, I just don't know how you can measure it. Here's a perfect example. Hertz Rent-A-Car. Didn't you mention to me Hertz about a week and a half ago? Hertz has petitioned the court to sell stock. They want to sell $1 billion worth of stock. They're in bankruptcy. And they're selling stock. And people are going to buy the stock. Some institutions will buy that stock. They may be, catastrophic institutions, where they buy catastrophic, situations. But, I mean, as many as the weirdest, let's put it this way, seeing oil minus $40 a barrel, Hertz offering $1 billion of new stock on a company that's declared bankruptcy. I mean, how can you follow any fundamental? Yeah, no, I get it. I read the rest of it. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have asked you to begin with. I realize that now. Yeah. I don't see it going. Well, I mean, it would be. Did it go down to the weekly number? I don't think it did it? Let's see. Let's go to J4X again. So it got down to. It only got down to 125.45. So it didn't really drop that far. And where's it trading now? 125.98. We are in a sell, but we're in a weekly buy, so you can't be short. I mean, you're dancing with the devil on that one. Yeah, you can see it there. It's relatively firm. I guess you want to see something short term? I can go in and see what the short term's doing. Maybe we can intraday. Would that help you any? I mean, right now it's a neutral zone. It's fundamentals are just not what they used to be. Unfortunately, they just don't function the way they used to. In a world that's starved for equity, a world that's starved for income, the funds themselves, they're going to say one thing and do another. Every one of those guys are saying one thing on TV or to their investors and doing totally the opposite, just enough not to get sued. I mean, that's what they're doing because they got to make money. So, they may talk politically correct, but they're investing differently. And so, the cable's in a weekly buy. The overall trend is up, except now you can see we're playing with, was that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we're playing with Monday's lows. We made new lows for the week, and now they're lifting it here. I tell you, there's a time to fold them. I wouldn't be short this product. Unless the best thing you could do is just go buy a call. Buy a call against it. Turn it into a synthetic. And if the damn thing takes off, at least you got some coverage. If it falls down, then you make money. So, I don't really see. What kind of chart are you using? What chart? I'll put my work on a chart that you're using. What's the chart you're using right now? Is it a 2-hour chart or something like that? I'm going to paste a window here and see if this will help you any. All right. are you using a 2-hour chart? What got you into the trade? Remember, I always like to say, what gets you into a trade gets you out of a trade. So let's take a look at what got you into the trade. Was it a 2-hour chart, or 1-hour chart, or 4-hour chart, or 10-minute, 5-minute? What got you into the trade? That's usually a good way of trying to figure out how to get out of the trade. Well, let's see. I appreciate that. Anything I say will help. That's good. Maybe we can see a little chink in the armor. I'm going to get rid of, on this one, I'm getting rid of the weekly altogether. Like that. I'm setting it up. When you give me the time frame that you are looking at, then let me close this for a second. Let me go back here. I'm going to see which one I'm doing. That's the one I hope I'm in. Am I in that? I'm in that. Good. Okay. All right. Now, you give me the time frame, and we'll insert it in there and see if we can figure a way of helping you out a little bit. Close. My first inclination is always to buy calls. I'm like a farmer. I always think, go slow or get in trouble slow. Go fast, get in trouble fast. Trust me, keeps my tractors out of a lot of mess. You just need to have bigger tractors to pull the littler ones out. Okay. Let's see. You will be mad with me. I'm not going to be mad with anybody. I use it 4 hours. You like to fight this thing sometimes, and you win, but sometimes it bites you. What do they say? Sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. Okay, let's see what a 4-hour chart looks like here. No, I mean, for every buyer there's a seller, and for every seller there's a buyer, and so someone's got to be out there shorting it, or selling it, to support the opposite side of the trade. So let's see. Let's go back. Let's see. Let's just try 99 days, or let's try 99 days back. See what that does. We'll see if we can straighten this out a little bit. I'm not mad with you. I'd like to see you get out of this with the least amount of pain, so you can go. The one thing a trader never wants to do is handcuff themselves. The one thing you don't want to do is, if it's not going the way you thought it was supposed to go, take the position off and go back and trade to make the money back somewhere else. But shoulda, coulda, woulda will definitely bury you every time. In other words, you can't. Okay, here you go. So that's starting to fill in. It's still backfilling, but we're getting all the way back. So that looks pretty good. Let me turn off the internals there for a second, like that. Maybe that'll help it a little bit. Nah. Oh, that looks pretty good too. Cool. All right. And what are they doing there? You can see it's only moved up about 4 pips since we started doing this. It's still backfilling. We'll get it. We'll see if we can help you out a little bit here. I don't really have a lot of confidence that yesterday's sell-off has a lot to do with anything more than just someone must have liquidated, and we'll find out who liquidated probably over the next 3 or 4 days. Someone liquidated somewhere, a decent sized portfolio. They took advantage of the all-time highs. I mean, we were at all-time highs in the Nasdaq. We were 0.618, 62. No, we were probably even higher. We might have been 0.78 in the S&P 500. Markets were moving up pretty good. If you're one of those funds out there that had your whole world rock you, you know, and you had a chance to get back 70% of your equity, well, I'm sure you're selling. Or they got put out of business, one or the other. You know, that's been going on. They don't play it up too much. The media doesn't want to talk about funds that go out of business. They like to pretend that, you know, it's all hunky-dory. Everything's all right. Okay. It's still backfilling here. Let's see if we change the format a little bit there. I just want to see where we are. There we go. And let's go with 78 days back. See if that helps any. And they're still lifting it. Like I said, 6-7 pips ago. Buy a call. When in doubt, buy a call. That's my attitude about it all. And you know, did you buy at 20 yesterday? I was watching your number, you know, when it was in the 80s and 90s, and I thought, oh my God, it's going to go down into the 20s. So I played down to the 20s. And then I bought in. I got long. And it rolled around and rolled around. And I had call options on. And then I turned them into spreads. And I had more calls. And then, you know, she kind of played up to the 20. Stalled out again. And then last night, when it ran up into the high, I guess the high 30s, no, actually it was the 50s, up around 51, 52. I sold calls against that. And so locking in profits there. You know, got to make hay when the sun shines. And then from there, you know, it was A-okay, you know. I mean, they've backed off, but I've locked it all in. All right. Let's see if we can get something on this thing. I don't want to handcuff here either. Come on. She can do it. Yes, she can. Think of it as like a no-till trading. 66. Let's see what that does. Come on. Still. Let's see. So we're at the 12th. And so 66 back. There's all of May. There's all of April. I am real surprised it's still back and filling. Alright, so let's do this. Let's remove a little bit more, like 58. And see where she shows on that one. Come on. And then we'll be able to get you an answer. Looks like it's kind of calming down. Let's do 55 like the speed limit. And you can see here it's backing off a little bit in there. I wouldn't worry about it too much at the moment. Just because of J4X, the way it's aiming down. You know, and then let's just go back to R's real quick. Right there. Wow. Right there, you can see it's, you know, it's minus, you know, that's all right there. That's what you're fighting right there. It's playing a short with a weekly trend. That's dangerous. All right, let's go back down to it now. Should be filled in. There we go. Now we can see what it's looking like. There we go. Well, I reckon that is not what you want to see here. I mean, this thing is, look, we've been red dots all the way down since yesterday. We were right here, went into the sell. We can move that line over there. About right there. Yeah, that's about right. So it went into the sell there, rolled over, and now you're battling with this buy right here. And I hope he didn't load up the boat. Let's see, anything. I will be mad with me. Nah, you'll be mad with you. I won't be mad with you. You're at least trying to get out of this. I was busy closing the S&P and the DAX shorts. Had a fantastic day yesterday. Yeah, I can imagine. Like I said, I followed exactly what you were talking about yesterday. And I let the math take me there, and it confirmed everything you were saying, and I just rolled with it. And I kept on thinking, wow, 54's got me into a nice trade. And so you know, when it started rolling over, I thought, okay, you know, maybe it'll go 50. I Fibonacci'd it down to 20. That's what I did. And then I could tell it was really rolling over with our math. So I started, you know, just rolling with the homies on the downside. And then when it got into the 80s, I figured, okay, you know, it's going to go to the 20s. And it did. Dropped another 60 points or another 600 points on the Dow. And then I started buying it. And you can see we're 100 points over that now. So, or not 100, but, you know, Dow's was up 500 or 600 points there. All right, so there's your answer right there. That's your answer. It's trying to come back. You got a little red dot developing right now. We're flat. You know, I mean, not flat, but we're at par at 126. And this is high up here. You can see that. It's touching through the time manifold. And the histogram hasn't gotten up through there. So if you can get out or buy a call, you'd be smart to do that. We can go back and forth and look at it for you. Matter of fact, if you want, we can leave this chart up on the screen like that. Matter of fact, we'll detach it. We'll go like that. We'll detach it. And we'll put it over here. And you can see it during the webinar. How's that? Something like that. Okay. And we'll go back to the webinar now. All right, so that's where we are, traders. That's a good example. One thing is don't fight the weekly trend. If you're in a weekly buy, but you go into a daily sell, you better take those profits fast or it'll come back and bite you. That's what it usually does. The math is 8.5 out of 10 times right. All right, now where did we leave off? We were playing with the euro, right? And there's the euro right there. Same situation now. It's starting to press underneath. We had the red and green yesterday. We have them 2 days in a row now. Now we're actually going into the clean for a sell. And let's take a look at that. I hope I helped you there, 54. And you do have a picture of it live now. So let's do this. Let's move that over a little bit like that so you can see it all. So maybe that'll help you out a little bit there. Now let's go to the euro on here. Now that we've resolved, or not resolved, but we, helped, tried to give 54 a tool to watch to be able to try to figure out when to try to cover a short, besides it being a plus. Anybody else have anything? We can start to go through there. That's a very long situation. We rarely have anybody get that much of a problem. Let's see now. Not much more to be said about the euro. I guess we could say this. Let's do this too. Let's fix. Let's see, not that. Come on, move down a little bit, and we go like that. There we go. And we're just going to move the spreadsheet up like that, so it's not interfering with the trading chart. So we'll just scroll it up and down like that. All right, so there it is with the euro. You can see. We're 13 weeks in a buy. It looks like it's going to push into a daily sell like that. It's going to go into a daily sell with the euro there, but I don't see it challenging the 110.94 or anything like that. And you can see it's just hanging around the 113s. Yeah, well, don't give any of that. Try not to give too much away from yesterday. All right, now let's drift over to Turkish lira unless anybody else wants to see something particular. There's Turkish lira. And you can see we're 27 weeks in a weekly buy, 6 days in a daily buy. And let's push her there. Dollar lira. The Turkish lira, there it is. A little pressure on the downside, but still in the 80s. And our weekly sell number is, where is our weekly sell number? We didn't even put the weekly sell number in there. Let's put that in there too. Was that 672.39? 672.39. Let's put that in there. There we go. All right. Nothing more really cooking about this. I mean, when you look at it through our Chicago quant right there, you can see that the product's been in a buy since that big green line 27 weeks ago. It's going to be 28 unless they find a way to close below the 72.39 on this, the 672.39. You can see here it's been holding up. It's been an interesting trade overall. And then, let's see. Let's go over to Canadian. Let's see what the Canadian looks like here. There's Canada. And it looks like we are definitely in a buy now. Yeah, we closed there. We have it listed on the buy in a spreadsheet as one. We were in a weekly sell for 3 weeks since somewhere is back in here. Since up in here we've been in a weekly sell. That's where it is right there. And you can see it's had its pressure on the downside. I think it drifted off. You know, it was falling down as oil was running up. Now that oil has started to run down, Canadian's running up. You know, it seems to always do that. You know, it's a one side to the other constantly. So, let me think. What else can we say about that? Where's our buy number? 36, and we're at 35.77. So that is dancing its way up to the weekly buy. Matter of fact, there you go. Today the high is what? 136.66, and so we leaped over it, and now we've fallen back underneath it again. Wonder what oil is doing. Let's take a look at oil. Yesterday and the day before, we've been doing some stories about pairs trades and what they are connected to or analogous to. Like when you look at NASCAD and you put oil with it, you know, it gives you a direction. And let's just take a look at that real quick. See where oil is right there. There's Light Texas. Oil's moving up, and I would assume Canadian would find a way to go down, not up. So, well, it's kind of weakish still, but it is up for the day. And you can see the last couple of days. So yeah, I guess that's why we're seeing it's lower on the day. So if we can see oil lift more up again, and you can see up on our spreadsheet here, oil is right there. 5 weeks in a buy. 34.74 is the weekly sell number, and we are 1 day in a sell. And let's see what that looks like on the quant system. Oh, not there. Let's go over to here. There we go. So, yeah, look at that. Still pressing down. But it is trying to lift. It's plus for the day. Now, look at that weekly. That weekly is not telling us anything more than it's been on an upward trend, and it's not going to let it go this week. Maybe next week, but not this week. So, oh, let's see what else we got going on here. You know, 54, they did trade it down to 125.92, you know, for the last few minutes there. I hope you can get in there and grab what you need to get. All right. Let's see. Where else shall we go? So back here, you can see the crude trying to lift. You can see this is all buried here, too. Look at that. So it's down at the low end of the range. Looks like it's trying to turn up. Our math is basically telling us not right now. Not now, later. And that's what we're seeing right there. Now let's drift over to, we did Canadian, so let's go do Swiss. Let's see what the Swiss looks like here this morning. We'll do it from there. If anybody has a question on anything, we can stop what we're doing and run over to it. And then that's there. And you can see it's a little bounce going on in there. That's that low there, of course. And let's see what it looks like on the quant. Right. Nope, that's the wrong one to begin with. Need to go over to Duke Day week. There we go. Bingo. All right. Yeah, you can see the bounce going on there. The histogram's bouncing up for the last 2 days. And you can see the black line is driving through the time manifold there and starting to head up. We still got red dots though. And look at that weekly. Buried alive. And let's just look on the spreadsheet and see where it shows up on there. That's 21, right? Yeah, so we need to get all the way up to 94.46. We're 2 weeks in a sell, as you can see right there, and 6 days in a sell. So, and that is that. I think now, not much more there. Okay, on to the next adventure then. Let's take a look at the Japanese yen. Right there. Trading at 107.40. That's line 19. Yeah, 19. And we're looking at 106.98 as the weekly buy number. So this thing is lifting up through it, which is pretty cool. And let's see, let's reset that. Where's that at? One of these will help me do it. Let's see if I go like that. There we go. There's a resetter. Let's bring her back over. There we go. All right, now, and let's widen that out. And you can see this thing is fighting to. Oh, what's that? That's a sell, isn't it? Yeah, it's a sell. I'm sorry, it's not a buy. So 106.98 is the sell there. It dropped down. Looks like they went down and touched it. Let's go take a look. The low is 106.58 today, and yesterday about the same. So it's gone and played with the weekly sell and then come back up each time. This is looking pretty firm, and you can see J4X is lifting very smoothly and clearly. You got the solid line above the other two lines, which is what we want, and then you got the dotted line still burying itself, which is fine. And you can see the rate of change is trying to move up. And then we come back to our quant. You can see this thing is just sitting there on the edge. You know, it's just sitting there because it played underneath. It'll probably straighten itself out and stay in the buy. And you can see here, this is trying to get into a daily buy there. And we've been 4 days in the daily sell, as you can see right there. It's just sliding slowly. Slowly to nowhere. Mad with you and your fundamentals. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't find it worth it. Too much work to do. If it's not the plants, it's something else. It's the trading. If it's not the trading, it's the charting. So I don't have time to be mad. I just keep on marching. All right. Oh, look at this. You're getting a nice move there. Now you're at 83. Got a little green dot there. You want that thing to go away. You got the red and the green, and we want it to turn into a red, and then maybe you'll be able to get something there. And look at that. This thing is rolling over here. So, let's see. Oh, what do we got here? Levon, how you doing, Levon? Welcome back today. What time frame do you use for swing trades, assuming the week is a buy and daily? No, I don't pay attention. That's 54. I just put it up there to help him out. Me, on an intraday basis, I use some tick charts and I use some contract charts. I don't use minutes, but I find minutes to be less accurate. But I have one client that is doing pretty well with minutes. He's got the full service. He's got the full charting service, and he's pretty happy with minutes. So, and then every so often, he drifts back to contracts or ticks. But no, we use tick charts because we're really big on spatial mathematics, and we feel that like minutes and hours are too static. They're kind of they lag, and they don't really reflect the volatility in the marketplace. I hope that answered your question. And then so you see swing trades. Assuming the week is a buy, yep, in a particular product. I see what you're saying. I see what you're thinking too. That makes sense. If you're in a weekly buy, would you be trading intraday on the buy side or the sell side? Well, you can do either. Yeah, I hear you there. We we don't really find that's much of an edge. We've tried that many decades now, but you know the math on each chart has a different story in the sense of what it's confirming. The weekly trend, you know, here's a perfect example of it. You know, this thing's been in a weekly buy since here, I guess it is. What are we looking at? The yen. Okay, there it is on the spreadsheet there. 3. So it's been in a weekly buy since this close here. Let's put a line in there for you. Right there. So it's been in a buy right there. And then we're going to change the color of it so it matches. There we go. Green is buy and pink is sell. And, you know, if you were trying to intraday trade this, you could see, let's see, where's that? What date is that? Let's see if we can show you on Forex. So that's 5/22. All right. And so we go back to 5/22 in here, and you can see, let's see if we can do this a little bit better even. And we could even make this like an hourly chart. Just to give you a flavor of what we're talking about here. So we'll go back to 5/22. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. 5/22. There's 5/22, okay? So we're in a weekly buy, but notice how it keeps on trying to fall down out of it all. So what we do is if we're intraday trading, then what you would do is you'd be following an intraday chart, just like we're looking at right here. You feeling better there, 54? Things are looking pretty good for you now. It's fallen down like 26, 27 cents. Well, you got two ways to get out of that thing. One was buy a call to protect yourself and hold on and turn it into a synthetic short. Or that's about the only other thing to do, really. Or give up and close it out, one or the other. So life is better now there for you. So again, Levon, in this case here, you can see that it played with it for a while, then finally woke up into its weekly trend with a daily. Once it went into a daily buy, more than likely somewhere around in here, and it probably took off. And if you're doing an intraday trade, then so you want the weekly buy and the daily to be lined up together to do an overnight long trade. And then vice versa, if it's in a weekly sell, in this case here, you can see where it's topped out. It's been going down. Let's go back to it. What's it say on the spreadsheet? Yeah, so it's in a weekly buy for 3 weeks, but if 4 days, this is the 5th day, it's in a sell. And here it is right there. So it goes into a sell, like you see on J4X here, up in this topping area in here. Okay? And then, it goes down in the sell. So what it's telling you now is don't be long. Okay? You might have been long for the ride up, but you don't be long for the ride down. You keep the money. That's the idea, is keep that crop. And so then, I always say we're migrant labor around here. What we do is we pick money. And so then what happens is that you just let it do its thing. Let it go down again. And if it gets back into a daily buy, and this thing's back in its daily buy, then you can get long again for another ride up again, because the overall trend is the weekly one. And that's up. See what I mean by that? Does that make any sense to you? We do have instructions written somewhere around here. Robin can send you over to them. And that will give you a fighting chance there. I hope that made sense to you. And 54, take the money and run when you can. Take the money and run. Excellent. Excellent, Levon. I'm glad I could help. As long as it makes sense, that's all that counts. And if what doesn't make any sense, just ask again. I don't have a problem at re-answering it again. Or, coming from a different direction. I can easily come from a different direction. And it was easy for me to just choose the product we're looking at as an example. And it gives us a chance to look at things in a couple different ways. I want to go back to the daily chart there. There we go. Now, where did we leave off? We left off with Mr. Yen. Let's go to the NASCAD. This is one of those currency pairs that link to a commodity, which is, we're starting to look at them more, because we do know that the 5 or 6 major commodities on the world, like crude oil, You know, gold and the metals, and we noted the beans and the wheat and the grains, I guess you could say, and not the meats. The meats, they don't have as much an action to link with a currency, but we're looking. You never know. If you don't look, you won't find. So that is what we do. All right, where are we at now? Let's go drift off to somewhere else. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we were doing CAD. So there's CAD. Let's look at it on J4X. Now, this particular pairs trade, this currency pairs trade, really should relate to Canadians more than anything else, and oil people in Canada, and anybody that deals with product like that. We haven't looked to see if there's a grain connection to it, but we have watched the oil one. Where are you? NASCAD, NZD. What's the challenge here? There you go. It's all alphabetical. Why can't I think? Sometimes we just don't think hard enough. You can see here, the product has been running hot, steady, and straight. On the spreadsheet, there it is right there. 3 weeks in a buy, 13 days in a buy. Let's take a look at that thing. Oh, yeah, there it is. It's right in front of us. So that's where it went into the weekly buy right there. And we've been in a daily buy since, I guess it couldn't go in there because it was red-green at the time. I'm a little confused. So is that 1, 2? I guess that's what it was a buy. And why didn't it get it in a sell there? Interesting. Not sure why that didn't, but in the end result, as you can see, that it's been wrestling its way up, and away from here. Put a line in there. Where are you? Where's your tool at? There you are. Right from there. I don't like that there. Cancel. I like it down on this chart more. It makes it sense. Remove the line. Right there. Now. Come on. You can do this now. There it is. There we go. Actually. And that's where it started off as a 2 because the day before it had, but the problem was it had the red and green dots, so we had to wait until it started to show the same thing the next day. It doesn't have to be closed. In this case here, when you get a red and green, just the next morning or late at night or something, more than likely when you see that it's holding up going into the morning market before the exchanges open, you can jump on it at that point, and in the electronic market. So you can see here, so that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm not sure why we didn't have this as a sell here, then a buy, then a sell, and then a buy again, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's try that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so it's not 13. It should be 9. There we go. And so that's how that rolls there. Hey, what do you think of NAFTA? I thought it was gone. Isn't NAFTA gone? The new trade deals that replaced it. If Doc, any comments? Yeah, I thought it was gone. I didn't think it was. I thought it was. I was concerned when Ross Perot and the rest of them were playing around with that idea, and I was really upset with the idea that I had all the faith in the world that the politicians would never do the work. So in other words, NAFTA would have been fine if they would have upgraded it every 3 years and dealt with it. But what they did is they signed the law and walked away. And so it's like, planting and not going back again for 3 months. It's kind of crazy. You don't know what's happening out there, and you're not fertilizing anything, and you're not worried if it's watering or not watering. You can't just walk away from it all. And that's what I had a problem with NAFTA. NAFTA, they walked away from it. I knew they were going to walk away from it. I didn't like the rules, the way it was set up. And that's why I didn't like NAFTA. Now Trump has set it up more where it's more dynamic, where you're constantly involved, and adjust to the different cash flows and currency flows and so forth, and eliminate abuse. You know, I think that's what it really comes down to. I was really didn't like that abuse side of it. I knew that when they put all those bells and whistles in there, I knew someone wasn't going to be doing the work. And sure enough, they didn't. They let it grow wild, and it just got out of hand altogether. They had trees growing out there, out in the middle of the cornfield. Big trees. Something a tractor would have a battle with. So that is what I didn't like about it. Now I like, because Trump is dynamic. He's a businessman. So remember, he's a real estate guy. They love contracts. Trump's a real estate guy. Those real estate guys, that's all they know is contracts. That's all they do is they dot I's, they cross T's. They're just like, they look at it 3 times and then they go read it again. They look at it 3 whole times and then they clean it up at the end, and then they go, you know what? I think I'll look at it a 4th time, and then they do it again. So that's Trump's way, and that's the American way. That's the way it should be when we're dealing with clients like other countries. Look what happened when the United States did. NAFTA allowed companies to go out of business. It forced them out of business because taxes rose and they didn't adjust NAFTA. Cash flow and debt changed, and they didn't change NAFTA. Imports and exports changed, and they didn't change NAFTA. And they basically closed enormous amounts of domestic businesses and production and so forth. Hell, at one point it was almost to the point where not John Deere, but Cat for sure, was almost not manufacturing at all in the United States. It was on the edge there. Snap-on tools was gone. Was it Black & Decker and so forth? Gone. So, does that make any sense to you? Or am I just rambling again? Okay. Are you taking a profit? Or are you near the profit now? What's going on there? Put a chart up there for you so it's making life better for you, that's for sure. Let's see, what do we got? Buy a call. You want to be short? You're in a weekly buy? If you're in a weekly buy and you want to be short, buy a call and short your underlining, short the hard delta. Make it a synthetic. All right. Let's see, where did we leave off? We left off NASCAD. So what we usually do is, with NASCAD here, let's just use J4X instead. It'll be easier. And we'll go like this. Let's put light crude in here, and we'll just take a peek at what's going on there. You can see it. Something like that. And you can see they're pretty much matched up, except for yesterday, that little push down. But it's trying to turn back up again. You got a red and green going on there. It plateaued right here. It's plateaued right there. It's already way oversold. So, as you can see on our work, ours never even went minus, though. Is that right? No, that's NASCAD. Yeah, okay, yes. I see what I'm saying. Yes, and NASCAD didn't even go minus out of it all. So what's oil trying to do? It's trying to turn around and climb back up again. And that makes sense. That's what it normally does, stuff like that. That's why we try to look at some of the pairs trades and see if we can find a correlation or an analogous situation. We're looking at Euro Aussie against S&P. So remember yesterday we looked at that and we said, okay, this one's going up and the stocks are going down. Boy, did they go down. Let's just take a look at that. Let's put the S&P 500 in right there on the J4X, and let's go take a look at the Euro Aussie pairs trade right there. Now they pushed it up pretty good there yesterday. That's a nice move for it, but you would have thought that they would have gone over something like that. Let's see if we can tighten this up a little bit. You would have thought they would have gotten higher, maybe up in here, to match the stock market, but they didn't. This thing's topping out. The green dot's still there, but it is minus for the day, and we're still in the weekly sell. And when we go and look at the S&P 500, right there, You see it's bouncing back up. Oh, good. They're still lifting. I still have one little long position on. Let me think now. Go there. Yeah, right to there. Let's go take a look at S&P right there. And you can see our weekly, is down. We're playing with the weekly number, so we're just underneath it at the moment. And this will probably dip down below it unless this thing lifts up. And I think it's going to lift up. Like I said, I think it wants to get more legs in it. So we'll see how they go with that. Okay. What do we got here? Took some next level to take profits. Oh, you sold it down at 125.40. Ouch. Okay. Well, go buy some calls. And this way you can try to ride this thing for a couple of days. I think that would be the way to go. Or buy a bull spread, make it cheap on yourself, and in other words, buy the more expensive call, sell the cheaper call, and then be short. This way, at least you got some delta on the upside if this thing decides by the end of the day. That's the problem with this product. Is by the end of the day, they may find an idea like, next thing you know, you're sitting at 26.40 instead. It wouldn't surprise me any if they tried to lift this thing up a little bit more. So, and this could be the, that W or the ABC, with the R.N. Elliott stuff. Next level takes a profit. All right. Let's hope you get it. All right. We're done. Oh, let's take a look at gold. Right there. And there's gold. Now, gold came in a weekly sell and a daily buy, I believe it was. And you can see there, we're going to be back into the weekly buy. You can see platinum stayed in the weekly buy. Copper stayed in the weekly buy. Silver's still in a weekly buy. So, this product is lifting back up again. I guess, yesterday's market didn't exactly make everybody feel calm. That's for sure. And what else can we say about gold? Let's see what the contango looks like. I wish I'd had time during the day yesterday to actually think about looking at the contango. That would have been interesting. Yeah, look at that. $8. Almost $9. Basically $9 now on the contango. So, interesting. Very interesting. 8.5, 9. And no more than a bunch of days ago, we saw it trading at $2 contango. So, that's there's something, where there's a premium where there should be a parity. In this case here, the gold is trading with a premium. The gold future I'm talking about. Because, you can, buy gold and sell the futures contract and do the arbitrage. All right. No other questions? And let's see what else is brewing here. I guess it's about that. Let's see. Let's take a look at silver. We haven't looked at silver. There's silver. To do. Oh, I got plenty to do. Took some next level of a take profit is, I see. Good. Yeah, I don't, fundamentals, it's awful hard to say what's in their minds, really. What was someone saying? Oh, I know what it was. Grant's newsletter, the Grant newsletter, said the best way to make your company grow is go bankrupt. Because, Hertz is going to be able to sell $1 billion worth of stock, and they're in bankruptcy. And it's like, it's a little exaggerated because, everybody got locked in their... we got enough land around here and houses that we don't pay attention to it. But there's a lot of people that got locked into very small, consolidated situations. Hell, we were out having barbecues and, well, I wouldn't call them parties, but we were having friends over and so forth. We weren't out here in the country. We weren't really paying attention that much, when I went to the store, it wasn't that bad. It was a little weird, but wasn't bad. And so overall, for us, we didn't really pay attention to it. But there's a lot of other things going on there. So, the market yesterday thought that the coronavirus is back alive again and going to throw the economy into a stall again. And Mnuchin came out. He made it clear in the morning too. He said, we are not closing the market, the economy down and locking people up again. Thank goodness on that. Like I said, I didn't relate to it, but I'm sure I would have been a hell of a lot more angrier if I had lived in like a development or something like that, or had my old city apartment, something like that. I'd be a little frustrated too. If I was stuck in Manhattan, well, first of all, I wouldn't have come back to the farm. But if I had been trapped in Manhattan, again, I wouldn't. But if I was, I would not have been happy, even with having Central Park no more than 2 blocks away. It still wouldn't have been enough, because they had everybody off the street. So, that's a part of the whole situation yesterday, is that the marketplace went bananas because they got nervous. They just run for the door. They weren't thinking too hard, let's put it that way. And so today it looks like it's holding up pretty well. And it looks like it's going to stay that way. All right, so there's silver. And as you can see, silver, that's gold. Let's get silver up there too. There's silver. And silver's been, it's up in the 18s and the 17s, bouncing around. The contango is 13 cents, which is about par for it. And but it doesn't seem to be really trying to push too hard in any direction. You can see this has been pushing itself down. And but that's really shallow in there, really. And you can see here we're cleanly through a weekly with no problem, and we're actually, I think we're playing with the weekly now, aren't we? Yeah. There we go. Where's it at? Right there and right there. Yeah, we're right there. So we're playing with the weekly. We'll see if that thing fights its way back up over it. And we'll see where the bars end up at the end of the day, too. So that is what's going on there with the silver. Also today, traders, anybody who's actively trading in the markets, the stock indices, I think they switched. It's a switch day. They switched from June to September. June to September. That's something, huh? We're back into that again, So, let me think. What else can I say about that? I guess that's about it. This has been Doc from North America. I think today we could say we were talking about the idea of dealing with what did we talk about today? We've been looking at different analogous trades. I guess we could say just finishing the week. I guess that's what it really comes down to. And yesterday's crazy action, the crash, which I try not to take too serious. If you trade options and the products, it makes a lot more sense. When you don't, it is like walking around with no pants on. That's pretty much about it. All right, this is Doc from North America saying have a good weekend, have a safe and smart weekend, and we will catch you all Monday. Ta-ta for now.